Okay.
All right, so maybe do it now. It's another Saturday. It's another weekend. And this is another throwback lobby style chat called the Weekend Review. And what you're probably listening to, if you're watching us on the YouTube side, is, well, you tell me what it is. Leave a comment in the description below, and you'll know exactly what song this is, especially if you were a gamer. But anyway, let me go ahead and turn that down a bit, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, I have two panelists so far, and they will trickle in probably throughout the next 2 hours. I've got Mr. Scotty P, and I've got Tony Two Times.
Okay. Howdy.
So, this morning before we went on air, it started off with, "What do you mean 2 times?" And so what I've been doing is I've just been playing with server nicknames, and yes, I am licensed to Derp. I am Double O Derp. I am your host, Sean Pwnery, of course. And Tony Two Times is the man who buys every pistol in twos. Because,
It's balance.
of course, you put a heavy ass revolver on one side, you're gonna have a, tilted belt. So, yeah, 2 times is
Yeah, I
fine.
got a bad back, see.
Yeah.
So I got to have that balance.
Oh, so you would actually do very well with the face-off double pistol holster on the small of your back to kind of pull you up straight, so you don't have to
Yeah,
hold it.
if I could actually reach around behind my back.
Well, you can just like 45-degree the grips, so you only have to reach for your kidney. I mean, his went straight up and
Um,
down.
that's a long way back there.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, if you can reach the 3 and 9 o'clock holsters, I mean, it's only one more hour, sort of.
There's a reason why I normally carry at like 130.
Yeah. Oh, you do. You appendix.
Yes.
You want to blow your cock off.
Actually, I know how to safely handle a gun, so that's not a friggin' issue.
I'm gonna do something that's kind of weeb.
It's hard to
So
blow your
I'm
cock off with a single action
so
army
I know you
revolver.
guys no, because you leave it cocked and ready to go. Anyway, I think Tony sometimes watches the YouTube side, so what he's probably gonna notice is if he's playing this back, I did figure out a way to modify the YouTube side chat. So I hope you guys like the way I've arranged it. I've changed the colors and the fonts and all that good stuff. It's a little harder for me to read from OBS, but on full screen on YouTube, it'll be pretty crisp and clear. So I wanted to change that so you can see the way it looks. And I think I'm still going to have to modify the layout ever so slightly because the newest messages still don't pop up properly. Let me.
I'll try to look at it, but the whole time I was on Caliber Corner this morning, the chat never came up. I mean, I had the box, but nothing came up on it.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. Kind of looks the same to me.
On the YouTube side?
Yep.
Huh. Well, okay, so I guess when you see it on the video playback later, it'll look correct. I need to
All
fix
right.
something here. Let's try that. And then I gotta move this. That still ain't right. I don't know. I'm
I
still
got
sort of working this out.
I got to step out for a second.
All right. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. So this is still a work in progress. Sorry about that. You probably saw me moving the YouTube side chat around a little bit because I'm trying to get the latest message to be always on the bottom ready to go. I guess I should try to see if that works now. See if that works. Of course, there's that lovely little delay, isn't there? Okay, there we go. I got it now. So yeah, I'll be able to see at least 5 lines of chat. So if you chat more than that, then I have to look over on my other screen. Actually, never mind. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's fine. I'm pretty easy to shop for this Christmas. If anybody has a Union Soldiers Hardy hat, I want one. I believe my hat size is a 7, but don't quote me on that. I'll have to annotate that later. I think I'm a size 7 for the hat. I don't know. I remember months ago I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and I picked up a Hardy hat in some bombed out basement, and I loved it. And I was like, I gotta get me one of those. But yeah, I was trying to bid on one. I lost a couple months back. I completely forgot about it until the other day because my mailman showed up wearing one. And I was like, where did you get that hat? And he's like, oh, I bought it on eBay. And I looked at it real careful, and I was trying to make sure it wasn't the one I lost on. And I'm like, I got to get me one of those. And he goes, eBay. I'm like, I know, but I lost the last one. And he goes, just keep trying. You'll find one eventually. I think the one I want's the artillery Hardy hat because it's got 2 crossed cannons on the medallion on the front. But I don't know. I just like the way they look. I think it'd be pretty cool if I start doing the shooting segments with my milsurps while wearing it too at the range. That ought to get some strange looks. Like, what's that Chinaman doing wearing a Hardy hat from a Civil War? He should be out there building railroads. I'll be like, I'm not Chinese.
I was just going to ask you, talking about a tutu, because I just come back to the wearing it part.
Nah. Like, I'm not Chinese. Don't matter. You're one of them. So anyway, there's that. Let's see. Personal weeks in review. Let's do that before we get to the news. This week, not a lot happened for me this week. It was hot. The car didn't spring any leaks, so I guess my repair finally took. My air conditioner repair appears to be working. I do see a new compressor in my future, though, because the only way I can get it to work properly was I had to overcharge the system slightly, because I guess the valves in the compressor are weak. It's the only thing I can think of. But AC parts for repair and maintenance on automotive AC, when I first got into mechanics and when I was a dealership mechanic and then turned parts monkey at an auto parts place for a while, the tools to do it were quite expensive. Like the Christmas tree, the vacuum pump, those things were all expensive. I guess because the market is so flooded with what you would consider environmentally friendly refrigerants for cars, it's all gotten cheaper. So like I found this pretty wicked kit. It's got the Christmas tree that's good for 5 different types of Freon. It's like 12, 134, like one of the other new ones for the cars, R22, and one of the other new ones for house refrigerants, I think 410. And it's got like all the different numbers in different colored crescents across the dial face. And then they give you the manifold hose set with all the different fittings. So like the hoses are all the same, but then you screw the fitting on the end for whichever Freon you're working with. And it came with a 1/2 horsepower vacuum drawdown pump and the oil, and there's something else I forgot. And it all comes in like this really nice like canvas carry bag, and the whole kit's like $150. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic. Let's do that. So I think when the weather starts to cool down a bit, um, the compressor for my car is 169 new, which is nice. And then the kit is like 150, and then the Freon's pretty cheap. So the only hard part for me is it seems like everything that is regular maintenance on a Thunderbird, a retro Thunderbird, is in the stupidest places. So the AC compressor is at the bottom left corner of the engine. So I have to get the car up on stands and then take off like all the underside covers and the front wheel. The service port on the low side is also down there, which is stupid. I have to turn, if I leave the car on the ground, I have to turn the wheel to full left lock and then climb in between the gap of the fender and the wheel to get to this stupid little rubber access plate. So the low side's down there, and the high side, naturally being a pain in the ass, is on the top right corner of the car, underneath the lip of the fender. So I'd have to have a manifold gauge set with hoses that are 4.5 feet long. Whatever, I'll do it. So that's that. And then I got to replace the alternator soon. And I found a company that makes ambulance package alternators for everything. 240 amp alternators. They make one for my car. They just discontinued the model, but they've got plenty of stock, so I'm going to buy one. And they've got a lifetime warranty on it. So sure, I'm going to pay $300 for this alternator, but if anything ever goes wrong, I can just take it off and send it to them. And they'll rebuild it and send it back. No questions asked. I could just like fill in the paperwork on their website, print the label, send it to them, and then they'll send it back to me rebuilt. So what I'll do is I'll buy one of those, keep the original one in the car, in storage, and then if I ever have to swap it out, I'll just put the original one back in. But the problem with that one is it's on the bottom right side of the engine, behind the passenger side wheel. So it gets to go up on ramps just to change a damn alternator. Whatever. So there's that. As of today on Gunbroker, I have lost, I think it's 9 auctions. Yeah, I lost 9 auctions last week. But
I kind of figured the cooling you were talking about was the old military gun market.
oh,
Waiting for that to cool down.
no. Okay, so we sort of touched on that a bit, but well, let me finish the rest of this part, and I'll talk about that. So I went domestic. So in my to-do list, I want a Daewoo K200 or K300 rather, because originally I wanted the K200, so I have a common caliber with my ARs. But the more I look at the Daewoo, it reminds me of a Galil for some reason. I think it's the handguard and the gas tube up front. It just makes me think of a Galil. So I want the K or DR300, which is the Daewoo in 7.62 by 39, and they're quite expensive. Originally, Kimber imported them, and I think you were able to get them for like $600. But the cheapest I found a DR300 for is $1,600. So that needs to cool down, like calm the fuck down and come back down to a reasonable price because I want one. You can go back up after I buy one. I don't care. That's somebody else's problem. But I won a Korean standard issue gas mask the other day. And it was funny because I saw it was sealed in the tin. I don't recognize the Hangul on the side of the can, but I'm sure my mom will. It's current issue today. The date on it, I think, was 2017. So it's still good. It's just, it's sealed. And I paid $27.03 for it, which the last time I tried to get one of those, it was like close to $100 after shipping. This was $27. I put in one bid. I actually followed Othias's advice from C and Arsenal. I put in one bid for the maximum amount I'm willing to spend. I think I put $50. It put in the one bid for $27.03. And 8 days later, I got this email saying, "You won!" And I'm like, what the hell did I win? And then I looked and I'm like, oh, I got the gas mask. Cool. So I gotta write Larry another check because he only takes checks because I think he's an old dude and I think he wants you to mail checks because he just wants mail so he feels less lonely. That's the only thing I can think of. I was like, dude, Zell, for real, get with the times. Put down the stone tablet and chisels.
So basically, you're waiting to go back on lockdown with another mask mandate, so you got a purpose for it.
Well, I've already got my GP7, and I've already got like a case of those 40 millimeter, right, Scott? 40 millimeter input filters, NATO filters. So
Yeah, they're 40s.
okay, yeah, so we're good there. The guy that I was buying the filters from is I think he's in the UK, and he gets the Polish ones that I like. I got like a whole case of them now, so they were like $12 a piece or $14 a piece, and it was cheaper to get a case because it made the shipping the same cost. So I got that, and right now I'm trying to remind myself to stay on top of this because I have done my finances, and yes, I will be buying a Siamese Mouser today. But I have to remember to watch the auction because it ends in the middle of the show today. So I've got it on my screen, and I'm watching it like a hawk because I am going to win this damn thing. So anyway, there's that. My girlfriend's finally settled into her new place. And what was really funny is we don't... She does social media a lot. I very rarely post on social media these days. It's not that I don't want to, and it's not that I'm beat down by just the stupidity on it. I just don't do it because it's like, I think I've grown out of it. I just post every once in a while just to let people, like my friends, know where I'm at. But we don't post our relationship status or anything regarding it on Facebook. It's like, it's none of their fucking business. But what's really funny is she will post fake drama about a relationship that she hasn't been in with somebody else for like 2 years. Because her mom and her sister and a couple of her like cohorts, people that she's not friends with, she just, I guess, puts up with them. They're constantly, checking her shit. So she just keeps putting like garbage up there to throw them off all the time. But anyway, one of the dudes that I guess was one of those people, she was bugging me all night last night because she was like, this dude won't leave me the hell alone. And I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? And I'm like, you're constantly trying to throw off the scent from people. And she was like, this dude like hit me up and he was asking about tattoos. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, so we were talking about the tattoos and where I've got mine. And she goes, and I told him where a couple of them were, and he took it as an invitation that I'm, available, and now he won't stop bugging me. And I'm just like, well, you know how you solve that, don't you? She's like, what? So I remote desktoped her, and I was looking at her browser, and I was like, is this the dude? She goes, yeah. And I was like, well, I can do this. And I was clicking on his profile to block him, and she's like, don't do that. I'm like, fine, whatever. I was like, well, I can do this. And I just closed the tab for Facebook. And I was like, that's how you stop it. And she goes, what about the instant messenger thing? And I'm like, well, if the page ain't open, the messenger ain't open. What about my phone? I'm like, take your phone and turn it off. Problem solved. She's kind of derpy. That's why I'm licensed to derp. She frustrates me to no end because she's a registered nurse and she's also a pharmacist. So it's like, she's not stupid when it comes to book smarts, but God, is she dense when it comes to street smarts. Like, common sense is sort of in her back pocket. I mean, she picked me, right? So that's what I got to
Well,
deal
I
with
really
last
was.
night.
I wasn't going to go there, but I was thinking it.
Yeah. The thing she told me that stood out the most is she said, I have to work for the next 8 days. And I'm like, that's fine. And she's like, not you. I'm like, what do you mean? She says, I told this idiot that I have to work for the next 8 days because he keeps trying to tell me, or keeps trying to ask me out and take me to a bar. And I don't drink. And I'm like, I know. And she goes, so what do I do about this? And I'm like, easy. Tell him that in 8 days, you're going to be taken out by somebody else who's going to take you to this place called Brothers Pizzeria. It's a place that she and I grew up to going since we were like fucking single-digit kids. And we would go there and get pizza and Pepsi for like $2 or whatever back then. Anyway, they're still in business. So I was like, it's easy. Just tell him, hey, listen, in 8 days, this other guy is going to take me to Brothers Pizzeria because he knows who I am, he knows what I like, and he's going to take me to a place where the primary activity is not a thing that I don't even participate in. So I was basically just telling her to tell him, you clueless fuck, you don't even know what I like, so piss off. And she sent it. And his response was just 3 dots. And he didn't talk to her the rest of the night. And I was just like, problem solved. So that
I
was
would
my
have
weekend.
just went for the I'm not interested in you, so fuck off.
No, because the thing is she's friends with this person. But this person obviously has an agenda. You know what I mean? Like, when you know a girl who's like, all my friends are guys. And
The
it's like,
DJ.
when they say that all their friends are guys, it's because half of those dudes want to get in their pants. It's like let's not be fucking let's not be stupid about this. Let's not be naive.
Half is a little bit underrated.
Well, I'm being generous. 90% are
There
probably
you go.
well actually okay, 90% of them want to get in their pants. 5% of them might be gay, and the other 5% are just genuinely just friends, you know? Because maybe she's got a habit they're not into. And
Uh,
he was like, I wouldn't do that at all.
or the 5% is already in a relationship and getting laid, and when that ends, then they'll be the
Mm.
other side.
So they're the convertible fiber. Okay, I'll give you that. Like, because you're still human, right? You still have anatomy and pheromones. Yeah, you're right. That's what it is. That's got to be what it is. I don't know. You would think for a guy who's degreed in classic psychology and the psychology of women and relationship therapy would know these things. But I got to tell you, man, like, a woman will surprise you at every corner no matter what. You think you know everything about them. You think you know all the patterns. And then they'll throw a damn curveball at you. And you're just like, that
Let
was
me ask you
unexpected.
this.
Hmm.
How long would you like to spend, or not how long, how would you like to spend a weekend in a cabin
Mm-hmm.
somewhere isolated, just talking to a woman?
Mm-hmm.
I
Nothing else.
That's nothing else.
No other
But
activity at all, anyway?
no, nothing. You're
Like,
just
you didn't
there
go up there to
talking.
go hunting or anything?
Nope, you're just up there to talk.
I don't think I
And
could
what,
do it just because that seems way too one dimensional. Like, there has to be a reason I was going to go there.
right,
Not,
and
it doesn't mean like,
getting in her pants would be one of those.
okay, I get that. But I mean, like, aside from that, there has to be a reason I was going to go there. So, like, I'm going there to get to the outdoors, or I'm going there to get away from the city or the smell of the city, or I'm going there because I don't want to be around a bunch of people. Stuff like that, you know what I mean?
You're
Like
you're
what
going
Frankie
there
does.
to you're going there to talk to her.
That's fine, I guess. So, I used to
No, you don't want to do it. That's the whole damn point.
well, no, that's the thing. I developed this technique when I was in residency. Actually, before I even started residency. This I developed this because of something I did as a teenager. I uh, I developed this thing called road trip therapy. And I had a couple of friends, female friends. Yes, I was in two of their pants, but at the time I wasn't. And they had problems with whoever they were dating and they wanted somebody to talk to. So what they would do is they would drive over to my place, and to make things as comfortable as possible, I would drive their truck or their car and I would take them on a road trip. And basically they would just sit in the passenger seat with the seat kicked back, and I would drive, and every once in a while crack the window up and have a cigarette or whatever, because most of them were smokers too. And I would drive from Houston to Galveston, which is about 70 miles. And then I would turn northeast, drive towards Bolivar in Beaumont, and then that's another like 60 miles. And then I would turn back west on Interstate 10 and come back into town, which was it was like an obtuse triangle. So that leg was about 70 miles. And then come back to my place, and then they would turn around and go home, and then I would go to bed at like 4 in the morning. It was like being on the road at night with little traffic, and the weather's not hot, and it's dark, so the only thing you can focus on is street lights, the occasional car. You can clear your mind and just speak your mind, right? That
But
worked very well. So
would
like,
you do that with just sitting in the truck out on the curb?
well, yeah, because what would happen is every time we stopped at one of these places like Galveston or Beaumont or back to my house, there would be a time where we would stop, get out, and like I'd smoke a cigarette outside of the car and stretch my legs or whatever. We would do that. I mean, it would only be like 10 minutes, and then we'd get back in and drive off again. Because that gives them a time to sort of mentally dump whatever they've said for the last part of the trip. You know what I mean? It's like they build up cash and then they dump the cash and then you build it up again, and you dump it again, that kind of thing.
Right,
So,
but the point is that while you're driving, you're otherwise occupied.
well, for me, I'm really not. Like when I'm driving, if I'm on roads I'm familiar with, my brain is on autopilot. The only thing I'm paying attention to is the color of the light like up ahead of me. But like the
But
commute is nothing.
your brain is still doing something other than just talking to her.
Yeah, like 5% of my brain is focusing on the commute. The other 95 is just recording and processing. There would be times where, like, I'll use my friend Julie as an example. So she and I had this quote arrangement for like nearly 15 years. And we would have these chats in between when she was dating people. Our arrangement always stopped when she found somebody she wanted to date or when I wanted to date somebody. It would stop. And like both of us agreed that we're cool with that at the time because we weren't committed to anybody. But every time we would go on these trips, there would be this time where like from Houston to Sugarland, or sorry, from my house to Sugarland's about 10 miles. From Sugarland to this little town called Alvin is maybe 20 miles. Almost every time from Sugarland to Alvin, I wouldn't say a word. Like they would just talk, 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 talk. And then by the time I crossed past Alvin, god damn those dogs. As soon as I'd cross past Alvin, then I would just tell her what I thought. And then the next trip was or the next leg was from Alvin to Santa Fe, and then Santa Fe to Galveston. So like there'd be miles, like 20 minutes or so, where I wouldn't say a word. So yeah, I guess you're right. I would just focus on driving, but like the whole time I was just recording what I was hearing. And sometimes I would stop because I would hear something I've heard before, and I didn't have to hear the rest. And I'd be like, okay, you know, let's just stop there because I've already heard this, and this is how you go about dealing with this. And then, like, a few times it'd be like, how did you even know I was going to continue on with that? And I'm like, because you've done it before. You know, people are creatures of habit. But I mean, the cabin thing. So you're isolated in the middle of nowhere, and you're essentially confined to a box. And the only
Basically,
other
yeah.
and the only other person in the box is the person that you brought.
Yep.
Now, you're not stuck in a phone booth, so you've got room to move. And chances are there are activities that can be done to pass the time aside from the other person, um, to keep you physically, like, tangibly occupied. Like, if you know that they're only going to be talking, you know, about whatever their problems are, you have to be prepared that that's all that's going to happen that day. So
I'm
that's
not
fine.
talking about problems. I'm talking about just talking. It can be just normal conversation that two people would have.
That's fine. I mean, I can deal with it because it one of the hurdles I had to get over growing up was public speaking, which obviously that's not a problem anymore. But I'm pretty good at it now, so like I could probably do it. Now, how long is this trip though?
But let's just
Because
figure one day.
okay, yeah, I could do that. I could do that.
Well, I'll
But
guarantee you that most guys couldn't because, about 5 minutes in, they'd be thinking about how the hell do I get into them paintings.
yes, and there is a discipline that you have to learn there, I guess. Um, the way I used to describe what you just said was the red eyes and the silver fangs come out. That's that I used to equate it to we're lycanthropes, we're werewolves, and when the opportunity presents itself and you have a wounded or separated weak lamb in the flock, you want to eat it. So yeah, I could see that, but I don't know. Like I guess it depends on what your intentions were, because obviously two people are on a trip, two people are going to the same destination, and two people have two different um, expectations for what's going to happen on this trip. So you might be the werewolf, but they might not be.
The thing is do you spend your time trying to get her in the sheets subtly?
Well, it depends. Like, if it's something that you think is going to happen and they're receptive to even the idea of it, then yeah, you play the game. But if this is a platonic thing and you're really just trying to get away from the elements or the city or whatever, then maybe not. Like, I have a few friends, female friends that I have no intention of sleeping with ever. Like, just because either I just don't have any attraction to them. But like, they're the kind of people, you've heard me say this in the daily chats, which for you guys watching, the lobby for working stiffs is where we are every day, weekdays. And we had this chat before where um, you can have the type of female friends that are like Frankie, for instance, right? You can punch him in the arm, figuratively speaking, and they laugh and they punch you back. And I do have a couple of female friends like that. And yes, they literally punch me back. So there is that. Not all of them
Well,
are weak lambs. Some of them are actual goats.
my premise in all of this has been the same, God, since I was 14 or 15. It's very difficult for boys and girls to be friends. Just,
Yeah.
hey, Sam, I'm not
So
saying that it's impossible, but I am saying that,
it's a challenge.
yeah,
It is. You're. I know what you're saying. You're trying to fight human nature, and if it's a man and a woman alone, and you want to pass the time, human nature will take over. I get it. I get it. I don't know.
uh,
Maybe that's what we call advanced level adulting, though. You know.
Bill Burr in one of his comedy bits said something that stuck with me. And he says, all of the guys in this room are pre-wired to want to fuck about 85% of the women. I
Yeah.
think I think it's probably 90, but
Well, it depends on if you're
that's
in a desirable locale. I mean, if you're at a Weight Watchers convention, it's probably 0.5%.
zero.
You know what I mean?
I mean, he was talking about the people in his audience, but
Sure.
I'm talking about in the world.
Well, let's be
So
honest though. Bill Burr's audience is at a stand-up comedy club, and half the women are boozed up already. So he's got beer goggles on. They've got scotch goggles on, right? Like they're snorting and hoofing at the dirt already. Like whatever dude that those chicks came with, those guys are in trouble. Unless they drank too much and they got to deal with, you know, sloppy vomiting drunk girls. Those are no bueno.
that's all right.
Those are
Little
no
mouthwash,
that is
washcloth to clean her up.
no bueno. I had to deal with a sloppy drunk girl one time, and she did what I called the Matrix puke. Like, we're driving after we went to a comedy show, actually. I think we went and saw Ron White, as a matter of fact.
Ah,
And she just sat there turning green in the passenger seat. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I don't think so." So I pulled over and stopped, and she opened the door and fell on the floor. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's laying on her back staring up, and she's like, "I don't feel so good." And then she tries to stand up, and as she falls forward, somersaults with a string of puke coming out of her mouth, and it's following her as she's spinning over. So like, imagine a girl that's like in the throes of falling over backwards, and her body turns to the right. So her head's turning to the right, and a string of puke is coming out of her mouth, trailing up into the left because her head is pulling away from it. So like, I grab her arm and yank her towards me, and the puke lands right where her head would have been and just splattered all over the street. And I looked at her and I was like, "You've got a 2-drink minimum the next time we do this." What's up, Ozzy? Anyway, so that was my week in review. You want to share yours?
I didn't do shit. It rained here. God, today's the first day it ain't rained here in quite a while. I did the early watch 3 times, which is almost a milestone that we've made it through several weeks without missing one.
Well, give the show a plug for those who may not know that it's still around, because I cross-post this to 4 different YouTube communities.
We early watch is a kind of informative talk show type of thing that is kind of adult. Wouldn't want to let your kids watch it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starts at around 9 Central Time, a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, check it out. You know, I absolutely hate plugging myself.
So it's the view for real people
With talent.
with talent and no leftist lunacy and no censor and no sponsor. I'll sponsor.
No kidding.
And no Joy
Yeah,
Behar.
we've come to the conclusion that about the only place that would ever consider sponsoring us would be Pornhub.
Betty Ford Clinic.
That may be too.
Pornhub, Betty Ford Clinic,
Trojan condoms.
Uber Eats, Tinder. Tinder would do
I
it.
never thought about Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder would do it. Especially with Tinder, and the Maury Povich show would host you, because Jimmy's always talking about his relationship and you're always talking about how his wife's going to leave him for you. So
Never said she's going to leave him for me. I just said she likes me better. It is still live. We wasn't signing out. We was signing on.
Yeah, we're still on.
To anybody that wants to listen to the early watch who hears this and does, if you ain't said at one point during our show, I can't believe they fucking said that, we have failed.
Yeah. If you do say that, then the message was read loud and clear. Like, you get it. That's what it's for.
And honest to God, that's the basic premise of what the early watch is.
All right. So Scott is actually technically a working stiff today, but if you have a second, go ahead and tell us your week in review, because you had one rifle delivered and another one on the way, right? He might be working, but I'll have to
We
let you out
actually
there.
talk about guns here.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, that's the early watches, First Amendment, Second Amendment. That's what the show's focus is on. But
This one here is first, second, fourth, eighth, and absolutely the fifth if someone's listening that's from an alphabet. Actually, I was talking to Jive Turkey, uh, Aaron, the retired sonar operator, the other day, and man, he dropped something on me that just shook me to the core. Him and Uncle Sam are not getting along. From what I understand now, he is fully retired, because him and Uncle Sam had a falling out. He also had a conversation with a few alphabets, and what he was talking about scared the hell out of me. So basically, in short, if you use a chat app, it's not safe. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter if they say it is, it's not safe. And even if they did drop the logs after 15 seconds, the FBI has this dirty little thing called parallel investigating. So they will illegally get your chat log and then run a separate investigation from that evidence, working its way backwards into the legal territory again. And then that's the case they will play in reverse back when they come after you. Parallel investigation. The The illegal leg led them to the conclusion, but the legal leg started from that conclusion, and they worked that angle backwards. The
Yeah, it's a
legal
pretty
leg.
well-known open secret.
Oh, it's nasty. They did it to
Oh yeah,
him. They did it to him. He
that
got
wasn't
his.
very smart.
He got out of it. He got out of it, but it was still. It was. He said it was pretty scary.
I ain't super concerned about that. I mean, we put such
All right.
bullshit out on this show that we're probably on a couple watch lists anyway.
Oh, we're
Um,
on a lot of watch lists.
all right. So Scott, you do your week in review because it's going to lead into what Sam is asking. So you already got
Well,
one, and you got another one on the way. So go ahead and tell everybody about that.
so I kind of got screwed into buying it, but I ended up buying a Type 38 air socket that's missing a few parts. It's a project gun.
Screwed into buying it. That's what you tell your old lady, huh?
I don't have an old lady.
Oh,
Freedom.
you keep that in mind for when you get one.
Yeah.
So I picked that up on Wednesday, and then we had a somewhat famous internet celebrity at my local shop filming and doing some video work on the
Yes.
owner's machine gun collection.
Yeah. The password to get into that was 32 French long for those of you watching, so that should give you a pretty good clue of who it was.
Yeah. Or if you follow me on my Instagram.
Hmm.
But yes, Gun Jesus was in town. And no, not Brandon Herrera.
And he defied his reputation among some in the gun community as being a bit uptight
Oh,
and stuck up.
he was not uptight at all.
Yeah.
He was very nice in person. There were jokes to be made, jokes to be had. He was very gracious, actually.
Hmm.
Kind of cool to meet him. Got to provoke a response out of somebody who hasn't shown up that often anymore,
Hmm.
which was kind of fun.
Oh,
I love to stir the pot.
They were looking for you yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
So, Tony hasn't recently made the purchase, but I think what he has done will lead to a purchase because it's also on my to-do list, along with a gun that I've been waiting 17 months for. Tony wants to become Estelle Getty from Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
454 Casull?
Oh no.
No,
Anaconda.
Anaconda. Actually, I'm a huge fan of the Python,
Yep.
but I'm more of a fan of 44 Magnum. Anybody that's ever heard me talk anywhere should know that.
Can't blame you.
So instead of getting the Python, I want an Anaconda.
I want both. I ordered the Python last May. Last May. So we're 14 months in, and I still don't have it. But I do want the Anaconda as well. My second pistol purchase ever was my 629 competitor, my Smith & Wesson. It's the one that I think The Rock used in G.I. Joe or Fast and Furious 5 or 6, if I can't remember which now. But that one also was a 44 caliber gun that was also available in 357. And once upon a time, I was actually entertaining the idea of buying the 357 competitor also. The 686 competitor is the real model number, but I never did. I thought, nah, it's really the same gun. But when it comes to the Colts, I absolutely, I had to get the Python because, Rick Grimes, bitch. I had to have that, and I even bought the correct holster. The original one was called a Tech Shoemaker 42A, but the problem is Tech Shoemaker has died and the company is gone. So those holsters went from $60 on eBay to $600 on eBay, and I was not going to pay that. So instead, what I had done was I did my homework to figure out who did Tech Shoemaker copy to get that design, and it turns out that he did. I bought the holster he copied. It's called a Bruckheimer Lawman, and it's basket weave, and it is a swivel holster, just like the Tech Shoemaker, because he copied that. So, Bruckheimer was around, or Buckheimer was around in like I think the early 1900s, all the way up until I think the 70s. So yeah, of course he would copy that design because apparently that company's not around anymore. So you know, open game. So I got that. Then they announced the Anaconda, and I'm like, yep, got to get that. And then I heard from the grapevine that they're going to have another gun revealed next year, and I think they're going to call it the Boa, which is kind of weird because if you think about it, that's the smaller of all three snakes, but it's supposed to be the 500. And if they do make it, I will buy that too because they're all my Pokemons and I have to catch all of them. Other than that, recent gun purchases, Sam. They're all hanging on my wall. Like if you're on my channel and you're a subscriber to my channel, I recently did a gear review. I think I called it. It was a gear review of the hold up displays, vertical gun rack. So it's I think it's hickory, and each one there's two legs. You hang them up on the wall against the studs, and then you hang these hooks up. And so my recent purchases was I bought a Type 38, which led Scott to buy a Type 38. Mine is the Tokyo Arsenal School's teacher's rifle. It's actually got a kanji on it, not only for the school, but it's got a kanji marking on the side of the receiver that this was the sensei's rifle, which I thought was kind of cool. So I got that. And then I bought a Turkish 880535 Mauser, which is nice. Like that one was super nice, and I got that for a pittance. I think I paid $400 for it, and it is tiger striped like you wouldn't believe, man. It's got tiger stripes like freaking pregnant girls have stretch scars on their thighs. Like it's awesome. Um, which I just got the ammo for. So the party piece of the 880535 is you get Old World Charm because it's got the Gewehr 88 magazine, but it's been converted to take stripper clips like the 8805 conversions. And then the Turks took the rifle and took the barrel off and the jacket. They restocked it with a 98K style stock, but they inletted the 88 magazine and they used a Car 98K barrel. So now it takes 8mm Mauser JS, which is the 323 modern bullet, and it goes into that 88 action. It's freaking awesome. So I got that. I got this. I haven't put it on the channel yet, but I've got an 1891? Yeah, 1891 Argentinian Mauser. I'm looking at him and pointing at him while I'm saying this. You guys already saw my 1889 Swiss straight pull. Then I bought an 1870-87 Swiss Vetterli or Swiss and Italian Vetterli Vitali. And then right after I bought that, I was like, I got to have the other one to match the set. So I bought a 71-88 Dutch Beaumont, which if things work out today, I will be loading the ammo for that today. And it's going to be a really cool video because not only am I going to show you how to load Dutch Beaumont without the $300 die set from CH4D, but I'm also going to show you how to load it with smokeless powder, despite the fact that it was originally a black powder rifle. I get to thank Iraq Veteran for that one.
Well, I don't care about seeing you load the thing. I want to see you shoot it.
Oh, that's going to happen too. Don't you worry. That's going to happen because I had this. I had all my rifles MPI inspected, magnafluxed, just like cylinder heads, and they're all in perfect shape, even the Vetterli. So once I get the Beaumont done, then I'll do the one for the Vetterli, and then in about an hour, I will probably be the owner of a Type 46 Siamese Mauser. So that's going to be cool. And then, which kind of made Scott laugh, is I might be buying a second Siamese Mauser, but it's only the trigger, the sear, the disconnector, the magazine box, and the receiver and the bolt. So there's no barrel, there's no stock. Because if I get that one, then I'm going to find a stock for it, put all that stuff in it, and then put a barrel on it that's chambered in 4570, because apparently that's a very popular swap. and the 4570 rim is the same, so I can use the original bolt with the original extractor, and the magazine is the exact correct length for 4570. So it's literally just get a barrel in the right chambering, put it on there, and you're done. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. Look at Jimmy trying to drop Hangul on me. Man. Yes.
Well, you can tell right there he's talking, sort of, out of his ass because he doesn't know any of that shit.
I guess.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes, yes, you are. Yes, you are, Jimmy. I get it. Yeah, the reason I wanted the Siamese Mauser, so I have this weird habit. I buy rifles for unique features. So, for instance, I bought the 1889, the Swiss straight pull, because it gives me an action similar to a K31 and a K11, but it's longer, and the magazine is huge. It holds 12 rounds, which, if you know anything about Swiss straight pulls, they're usually 6 rounders. So this holds 12. It's double stack, staggered, 12 rounds, and it's got this really wicked disconnect. It's got this giant brass lever, and you flip it down, and it pulls the magazine down just far enough so the bolt can't catch it. But you can drop rounds on top of it and still work it like a single shot. So that's one of its party pieces. I got that one. I bought the Type 38 because I like the safety knob on it. It doesn't have a traditional one. It just has this big uh, machined filigreed surface on the back of the cocking piece, and you just put the palm of your hand on it and turn it 30 degrees. And it's really, really neat and intricately cut. So I bought that just for the safety. I bought the Turkish Mauser just because it's an anomaly. Like it's a hodgepodge. It's got a 98K style stock, but it's inletted for an 88 style magazine. It's got the bolt firing pin takedown ferrule on the stock, which doesn't work on an 88 bolt, but they just did it anyway. And then it's got a 98K barrel. It's cool. It's not like, this isn't Jimmy rigged, so to speak, pun fully intended. They took the best of everything that was out there at the time and put it together to keep their original 88s in service for World War One and Two, which is clever, honestly. And the thing I'm thinking about doing to that one is, by the time the 880535 came out, it had what you would call Romanization, modern numbers on the leaf sight. But I have it on good authority that you can put the Turkish Arabic numbered leaf sights on that rifle, because in World War One, they were still using that numbering system, and they were using the same ammo and the same barrel and the same everything back then too. So I could put the older sight on it to have the Turkish numbers on that gun, which would be cool. And then I bought the Vetterli Vitali because even though it's a straight wrist, it has a trigger guard spur for your middle finger, so it acts like a semi-pistol grip, and that really wicked, Vitali magazine conversion. Same thing with the Dutch Beaumont. You look at the Dutch Beaumont and you look at the magazine on it, and you think, wow, that looks just like a Vetterli Vitali. Well, you would think, obviously it is, because they adopted it the year after the Italians, but their magazine is physically longer and wider, even though it's the same shape. So, you can't interchange them. And it's got a really cool bolt handle that's about twice as thick of any bolt handle on any other gun I own. It's massive. It almost looks like a chess pawn made out of steel, and it's two pieces, and there's a V-spring built inside it to actually cock the action, which I want to say the Gra. I want to say it's the Gra or the Lebel has the same kind of spring. So there was that. What else? I got the Argentinian Mauser just because it was a good deal. It's got a cool magazine. It's got a Mannlicher style magazine. I got a 98 Krag Jorgensen for about well, less than half of what they normally sell for. But it's because someone put it in like a 50s or 60s Monte Carlo sporter stock. And because the stock was in such nice shape and the urethane on it was so well done, I left it as a sporter. Otherwise, I'd start looking for a Krag carbine stock because it's the right length. I think that's a Krag carbine barrel, but I can't verify that. But whoever did the work on that back in the 50s or 60s, they did a fantastic job. So I like it. I got the Krag for the action. I love that trap door thing on the side, and you just drop the rounds in. I think that's really cool. I like it so much that I'm trying to get a Norwegian Krag too, but those things are like prohibitively and perilously expensive. I could have bought this Krag 5 times for the cost for what a Norwegian Krag costs, and I don't think it's worth it to me. So I hope that answers your question. That's all the stuff I got recently, and I'm in the middle of trying to pick up another one today. Oh, sorry, I left out the pièce de résistance. I forgot the best one. I had a friend call me a couple weeks back, and he said, I got a friend selling a Mosin Nagant. And I thought, oh, a garbage stick. Okay, what can you tell me about it? And he goes, he says it's a sniper rifle. And instantly I'm like, it's a fake. I was like, what does he want for it? And he said, he only wants $800 for it. He just bought it. He paid $7, but I don't want it. And he's not a gun guy. He was like, if you give him $800, he'll give you the rifle. And I thought, well, it's worth a look if it's a sniper. So I went and I visited the guy. And it turns out that it is a legit 1944 Tula manufactured Russian PU sniper. It's got the correct scope, that's the correct shape, the correct size, the correct aperture diameter, which if you're looking for Mosins, I'm going to do a video on how to spot a fake. It's got the correct front sight that's clocked in the correct position. It's got the correct numbers on every single part where it's supposed to be. And I thought, well then, I just picked up a $2,500 PU sniper for $800. Take that! That's probably why I lost the next 9 auctions, though. Karma, you know, balance and all that good stuff. DJ Play Nice says he had chased a Hakeem through 3 or 4 gun shows from a guy. Same kind of thing. Wanted it because it was different. Kind of cool. Not everything is practical. You're right. That's one of those guns where the action will cut the tip of your finger off if you don't grab it correctly, if you don't charge it correctly. I think Scott sent it to me. We found a Hakeem rifle for $800. If you're interested in it, I will try to get a hold of you later. You can email me actually at the email address at the bottom. It's in the description too if you just want to cut and paste it. And if I still have the link, I'll send it to you if you really want one. If I remember, the only thing missing on that gun is the nose cap. But you don't need it to fire the gun, but I would recommend you start looking for a nose cap if you do buy it. Because it is a good deal. I mean, Hakeem's and Yarmans, the Swedish Yarman, they usually sell for like $2,000 around here. So $800 was a steal. And, you know, I've got tools and I'm not afraid to use them. So putting it in a boiling vessel and cleaning it up and re-rust bluing it or whatever, I would not be afraid to do that at all. So like $800, I would have been in it for it. But I bought all these damn milsurps recently, so I kind of used up all my money. Oops. So anyway, we've been in this for an hour, and I haven't even started the news. So before we run out of time, because I'm only going to do this another hour today, I'm trying to keep this to 2 hours. Plus I have to watch my auction, which ends in 57 minutes. Let's do the news, shall we? Now, if you're new to this show, what I do is I save the headlines and I put like my own little color commentary behind it, and then we as a panel will discuss this, you know, piece by piece if it's worth talking about. So the first story I want to share with you comes out of Louisiana, because when Texas recently became the 21st constitutional carry state, Louisiana was like sort of the little brother lagging behind going, hey, what about me? So Louisiana has been fighting to get constitutional carry probably as long as Texas. They have a state house and a state senate willing to push it through across the finish line, but their governor is, how do I describe this? He's a dipshit. So he basically went on the record. Let me put the video up, or the page up. This guy. So anyways, you can see John Bell Edwards dared the Louisiana legislature to override his veto of constitutional carry. So guess what they're doing? For the first time in Louisiana's history, they're going to do a special veto override session just to give John Bell Edwards a giant middle finger. And I love it, because now I'm a constitutional carry state. It doesn't take effect for another 90 days, but it's coming. And I think every state should have it. I mean, if anything came out of COVID, if anything came out of the Trump presidency leading into COVID and everything that happened after COVID began, you have got to have a standing round of applause for every state that went constitutional carry after. I think it was like, what, 4 or 5? For the longest time, it was like 16 states. And then all of a sudden, now it's 21. That's great. Wow. Kill your radio.
I did.
All right, so Sam wants, let's see, I want a 629 stainless 4-inch barrel, 44 Magnum. You know, the one carried by Sam Elliott in Fatal Beauty, and the nickel version used by Chuck Norris and Lone Wolf McQuaid. Yes, I think I always hear them referred to as the mountain gun when they're in 4-inch barrels, 4 or 5-inch barrels. Go for it. Now, when it comes to revolvers, there's a certain look that I go for. And when I had my 686, I could have bought a 686 Plus, but it didn't have the full underbarrel lug for whatever reason. I like it when it's got that full underbarrel lug. That's why I like the Anacondas and the Pythons, because it's got the ribbing that goes across the top that sort of gives it that same chunky look. And my competitor's the same way. It's got this huge aluminum shroud type thing around the barrel, and it's got a baloney cut right under the barrel where there's a giant Allen bolt with tunable weights inside it to keep the muzzle from rising. So there's that. But anyway, yeah, you should totally go for it. If you're in my area, a gun like that would sell for anywhere between $650 to $800. If it's substantially more than that, ask questions or keep looking, because I don't think a gun like that should probably cost you more than $800. Especially if it's just a basic like 629. If it's not like a performance center or anything like that, you know, performance center prices, that's where they justify 4-digit prices. But for a standard model, I think for my 686 I paid well, I didn't pay, I traded something, but I traded the equivalent of $650 for it. So that's what I would probably spend on one.
I bet that they're a little pricier than that right now.
4-inch barreled 454, that's a mountain gun. Overkill? No, because my 454 is the Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan, and it's only got a 2-inch barrel. And most of my guns, if you ever hear me talk about them, 95% of them came from a movie or a TV show. And there was a movie back in like 2010 called Faster, and it's what The Rock carried. It was a 2-inch barreled Super Red Hawk, Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan, 2-inch, 454. When he carried that, I saw it in the very first couple of minutes of the movie, and I wanted one immediately. I'm like, I have to have it. Because if you look at the top strap of the barrel on that thing, it's chunky. Like, she's a big girl. She's thick in all the right places. And it's made out of carpenter steel, which can take the 65,000 PSI pressure of that round, where Smith & Wesson can't. Like, when I bought my competitor, the first thing that came up was do not fire buffalo bore ammo through this gun. It was in bright red letters in the manual because they just can't take the pressure. So I thought, okay, can't take the pressure. That's fine. But yeah, no, it's not a mountain gun. I think the mountain gun was described as something with a 3 to 5 inch barrel. Something that you keep on basically a chest rig. And, you know, so that way you can deploy it quickly. My Galco Kodiak holster for my 500 Magnum, it's set up the same way, right across the chest at an angle. So the grip is pointing at your shoulder. Hi, Frankie.
Hey, Frankie.
She killed the road noise. Just make sure your sound cancellation is on the little 3 or the little 5 lines things, so we don't get so much road noise. Just because, for some reason, Discord, I thought it was an update-based thing, but it's not. Like they're trying to figure it out too. I work with the beta test group for that, and for some reason, when people jump in and out of the server, sometimes it turns the noise cancellation off. But we'll see. Anyway, that was my first story. Any comments on the Louisiana veto session, or that's pretty straightforward, right?
Well, I hope they get it overridden.
They've got the votes. It's going to be the first time in their history that they've done a veto override in the state. So that's kind of cool. You know, you make history and you do it on a historical bill too. So I love it. It works.
It's fine with me.
Play nice. By the way, my 500 Magnum is probably what you would call a mountain gun. It's the M500-4 backpacker. It's the one that's got the bear paws on the cylinder and the Kodiak bear on the side, laser engraved on the side of the side plate. It's not a 4-inch barrel. They say it's a 4-inch barrel. It's not. It's a 3-inch barrel. It's got a 1-inch unrifled compensator on the end. And this is leading into what I was talking to with Jimmy from the early watch. He wants a 460 because I told him to get a 460, not a 500, because I wanted him to have the flexibility of being able to fire 5 different cartridges through it. So with a 460 Magnum, if you don't know, it's like 454 Casull plus P plus P plus. So in terms of 45 caliber rounds, it's 460, 454 Casull, 45 Colt, 45 Schofield, and then if he wanted to get the cylinder shaved a millimeter, he could use the 45 gap or 45 ACP with moon clips. So that's why I recommended that to him. The other funny thing about that discussion was the 460 Magnum actually has a sharper recoil impulse than the 500. So like either one of those guns, if you ever take it to the range, you could just tell your friends you're going to the batting cages. Because every time you shoot either one of them, it feels like hitting a baseball at the batting cages when you're not holding the bat properly. And I know any one of you who has ever hit a baseball and didn't hold the bat properly and felt that sting that goes all the way up to your elbow because it wrapped across all 4 of your finger knuckles and it travels up your forearm instantly, that kind of stinging sensation. That's what a 500 and a 460 feel like when you shoot it. The only difference is I think the 460 Magnum uses a much faster burning powder, so the snap and the kick at your wrist is much more violent than a 500. A 500 is like a big push. You know, it's sort of like, I guess the best way to describe it is a 500 is sort of like getting hit by a roundhouse kick, whereas a 460 is like getting blindsided by a linebacker. Like the roundhouse kick, you see it coming, and you feel it hit you, and it pushes on you. You might have blocked it, but it's pushing on you. The blindside linebacker, he's going to snap your neck. It's going to hurt. Just be prepared for it. Make sure that you squeeze that Hogue Tamer grip very tightly against the backstrap and let that silicone gel inside it do its thing. It is a stinger. It is absolutely a stinger. But it's a great gun. Like my wish list is a Smith & Wesson 460 Bone Collector edition and the matching 500 Bone Collector. The only problem is they only made 1,000 of the 500 and 1,500 of the 460 ones. So they're pretty pricey. But they're cooler than those XVRs because they're all black melanite coated and they've got like a deer skull laser engraved on the side of it. They're cool. They're super cool. All right, so I tangented. Sorry about that. Next story I'd like to share with you. I'm sure all of you in the gun community have seen, heard, or heard other people talk about it. So let me put this up on the screen. The Fourth Circuit has ruled that the federal law banning handgun sales to adults under the age of 21 as unconstitutional. So the comment that I left for that is you can file that under duh. You can buy cigarettes, you can die for your country, but don't touch that beer. And God help you if you want to own a pistol. What utter bullshit. So, Fourth rules that it's unconstitutional. Kind of excited to see how that plays out.
Well,
They want
that
to
was
see what a bone collector is. Go ahead, Tony. I'm going to load this up.
that fourth is just the 3-judge panel, so it could go before the whole fourth, and then on up, because I'm sure they're going to fight the shit out of this.
One can only hope. Okay, so there's that. Give me just a sec. I want to share my screen because they want to see what a bone collector looks like. So,
I thought that's what you would call an easy girl.
how do I want to do this?
Sorry, ladies, I just couldn't help.
I guess I have to do it like this. That is the Swift. Oh wait, I can probably make it full size. There you go. That is the bone collector. So the things that you'll notice on it is that it's based off of, I believe, a 6-inch barrel, and then it's got the compensator affixed on the end of it. It has the LPA rear adjustable sight, and it has a fiber optic front sight. And I think it might be the one with the tritium insert. So it's not only it's like the Easy Shields. They've got a tritium insert with a fiber optic sight built in, or you know what I mean, fiber optic with a tritium built in. And that gun is melanite coated, which hardens the steel even further, but it feels oh so slick and smooth to the touch. Like, I think melanite's probably the best coating in a firearm you can get because it makes the metal better and it feels better and it cleans up better too. I'll fight anybody on that. I'll fight you. I will fight you. And it's got that brilliant unfluted cylinder. So that one says number 26 of 1500. The 500 Magnum ones only come in 1,000. They only made 1,000. So there's that. Now you got to see one. All right, so next story. We're going through these pretty quick. I didn't want everything to be doom and gloom and all this other crap, but I'm going to put this in the middle. If you grew up in the 80s, then this is going to hurt your soul. But a 1980s rap legend has died. Biz Markie has died at age 57, I believe. Yes. His real name was Marcel Theo Hall. Here's a picture of him at the Nuggets game. Now, if you don't know what Just a Friend is, just look it up on YouTube. Because I guarantee you, whether you were a fan of rap or not, even in the 80s if you weren't a fan of rap, you have heard this song. Because it has been parodied, it has been used in comedies, it has been used everywhere. Just think of the guy singing with poor tone. You got what I need. Yeah, that one. That's the song we're talking about. That's the man who sang it. That's the man who wrote it. That's the man who has left us as of last night. He died
Dude was
peacefully.
also
Hmm?
the dude was also on the second Men in Black,
I believe you're correct.
second or
Um,
third.
they say he died peacefully with his wife at his side, but the cause of death is unknown. He's 57. So the only thing I can think of is it's going to be probably heart related. Exactly. See, like, even Jimmy is like, was it drugs or fat? I've never heard this guy in the news as being addicted to anything. Maybe money and women and basketball. But aren't we all? I know I am. But anyway, uh, I'm sure that'll come out in the next couple of days. So, like, the way I wrote it is like, he passed with his wife at his side. The cause of death has not been released. And it was one of the very first times I ever used the hashtag Rest Easy Legend. Because the guy was legendary. And, he took an older style song and he made it his. And it worked. And the way he sang and told his stories in his songs, if you ever watch the videos, it's really, really telling. Like, he was just a natural storyteller as he does it. He was good at it. So, he'll be missed, obviously, by the community. I remember when I looked it up last night, I pulled up the video, and I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to play it, but on the
I can
video,
promise you're not.
yeah, on the video, uh, like the first 10 pages were people who jumped in and chimed in with the Rest Easy Legend thing. They were like, just paying our respects. And I thought that was very cool. Like, some of these guys, they're here, they're gone, and they were like one hit wonder types peoples. But when you look at the community of people who are fans who do stuff like that on just the video on YouTube, there's obviously a respect there. There's a healthy respect there, and that's kind of cool. Like, I don't think that guy's wife's going to see all that, but if she does, that should be very touching for her.
You know,
I don't
I
know.
knew the guy was from the Men in Black thing, but I hope on my death notice they say he died with his wife on top of him.
No, because she said well, no, maybe. If that
Hey, I
defibrillator
got
fails.
the pacemaker.
I know, I was going to say, if that defibrillator fails, first thing she's going to do is freak out. The second thing she's going to do is she's going to sue the manufacturer who made it. She's like, I made him get that to prevent this. Yes, that's the part that's the most iconic. So, yeah, Biz Markie, when he plays that song in the video, he's dressed up as Beethoven. And he really, like, over the tops his enunciations. Like, you could tell that, like, he was having fun doing it. And I think that's a rare quality these days in music. Like, there was a time when gangster rap was really big, and it was just way too serious. Like, it was too serious for its own good. And then Coolio comes out and makes fun of everything. It was like he was the tension breaker. And the same thing with, like, Biz Markie. Rap was in its infancy. You had guys like Tone Loc and Eazy-E, stuff like that back then, right? And they were putting out good music and they were putting out stories. And then this guy comes in and just breaks the mold, breaks the tension. It's like that needs to be there in this industry constantly. And now everyone's just too serious. It's like, what's a good example? Creed was too preachy, right? They were like hot and heavy, you know? Where's Weird Al when you need him nowadays? That kind of thing. Something to just kind of make it fun. Whatever happened to the Bloodhound Gang, damn it? You know?
Weird Al's in the Amish paradise.
I know. But that's, decades ago. It's like, whatever happened to the Bloodhound Gang? You cannot imagine how hard it is to polish your one-eyed gopher while holding a can of moo juice while doing 70 on the interstate in an 18-wheeler. I never thought missing persons could look so sexy. Did I say that out loud? That's the lyrics. That's the tension breaker. Where is that? America's so uptight and stuck up with cabin fever because COVID that we need that right now. You can't even have stand-up comedy anymore because everyone's political activists. Anyway, that's all I got on that. Next. Haha. So the way I worded this is fun. I'm going to put the picture up right there. This is Mike Lee saying that the White House and Facebook are in direct violation of the First Amendment. He's not wrong. So my notes on this was, collusion? In the White House? With Facebook? Say it ain't so. Senator Mike Lee is
And
calling
Twitter.
it for what it is. Exactly. But it was Facebook, the one for sure that they can link. So I was like, Mike Lee is calling it for what it is, a direct attack on the First Amendment. And then I wrote in Arlie Ermey's voice, wow, no shit. So the question I have to ask is there a congressman now, because he's a senator, so he can't do it. Is there a congressman with the balls to actually do something about it? Because
I mean, a representative, because a senator is a congressman.
well, a House of Representatives,
Okay.
that congressman. Because the reason I ask is because when Trump was president, there was a congressman. His name was Al Green. He's from Houston, and he brought up articles of impeachment any and every chance he got. Almost none of it stuck, but he had the guts to put it out there. He didn't care if he was going to get reelected or not. But the fact of the matter is the district he represents don't know any better and just constantly keep punching his ticket. So he got away with it. Week after week, month after month, for 4 years of Trump's term. And it's like, where's our version of that on this side of the political spectrum? Somebody's got to do it, because the only difference between what Al Green does and what this person who will step forward and do is they actually have credible evidence. They have a slam dunk case. Now they just need the fortitude, at the risk of maybe not getting reelected, to see it through. But the problem is your average congressperson's job, once they're elected, the first thing they do on the job is start working on their reelection, because that's all they're going there for. They're not trying to help. Look at Dan Crenshaw. He got elected. He ran a great campaign. My local guy, Michael Berry, which if you haven't heard him before, KTRH 740 on iHeartRadio. He's on twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Give him a listen, because you're probably going to love him. If you liked Rush Limbaugh, or if you liked Sean Hannity, but want a much less annoying version of either, but very factual and very knowledgeable, this guy's got 2 law degrees. He got one here in the States. He went to Oxford. He got another one. His wife was the lieutenant governor of Texas at one time, and she's an Indian immigrant. But this dude is from Orange, Texas. He's about as redneck as they come. But he's a father of 2 adopted Ethiopian children, and he's got an Indian wife. And people still try to call him a racist. What drugs are you taking? Anyway, point is, we need someone to step forward, and we need someone to actually put this to bed, because this is ridiculous. Like, we have reached critical mass in terms of political absurdity. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to go into a political rant for hours. I could, but I won't.
Now we'll probably do that shit Monday.
It's all yours,
But over
man. If you need the
completely.
links or whatever, I will give them to you.
No, we're going to do it on a completely different friggin' topic.
All right.
Keep that in mind, Jimmy. We got a surprise coming Monday that I'm sure you're going to love.
What's her name?
Let me guess. Governor Hot Wheels is going to arrest some Democrats?
No,
No, they're still hiding in a Washington, D.C. hotel, hanging their laundry on shower curtains, thinking that the struggle is real. So, we have heard this before in the past. I'm leading into the next story. We've heard this before in the past. The term whitewashing. And what it was is, it's a term that leftists like to use because they're constantly trying to hint towards white supremacy, I guess. Blanking out everything else, right? Becky, make sure your sound suppression is on.
My what?
Your sound suppression, which is nothing but wind noise. So anyway.
It's windy over here.
I know, but we're on the air. Um, I think Team USA Olympics has pulled off what I want to coin blackwashing. I know it's risky to say that, but I'm leading into a story because a few weeks back, Kevin Love, who currently plays, I believe, for the Cavaliers, was selected for Team USA basketball for the Olympics. And there was a giant stink on like ESPN and well, mostly ESPN. You got Stephen A. Smith, and you've got like, was it Janelle Harris, a couple other folks on ESPN, and they were screaming bloody murder about the, why did you put Kevin Love on the team? Why did you put? They called it tokenism, because he was the only white guy on the team, and they said that the thing is that America is not brave enough to put an all-black team to the Olympics. I'm sorry, but your argument's bullshit. You put the most qualified players on the team. Like, who's not being colorblind here? Right? And I will hand it to Stephen A. Smith. He was correct about one thing. Kevin Love had a terrible season last season. He didn't have good stats. He didn't really deserve the selection. Maybe that's why he's got a bone to pick. But when he had the bone to pick on air, he went with the race angle. And I thought, you're an idiot. The second you did that, your credibility for the rest of the story is gone. I don't want to hear the rest. So he was on the team until yesterday because he canceled himself. He is withdrawn from the Olympic team, and for the public PR, he says it's because he's not at a performance level worthy of representing the team. And they conveniently filled in the excuses of, well, he's been fighting a nagging calf injury. I ruptured my calf walking downstairs. I made a full recovery in less than 10 days. Don't give me that shit about nagging calf injury. Take that shit out of
So,
here.
are you suggesting that you should be our token Korean on the basketball team?
No, I'll be the token Korean on the U.S. shooting team. They still do
I mean,
that.
for a Korean, then you're really tall.
I am, but I'm still shorter than most point guards. You know, like I used to go to the Rockets games all the time, and I met like Kenny Smith, and I met Sam Cassell. These guys are point guards. They're still like 6'5", 6'6". I'm still shorter than them. Now I'm taller than Muggsy Bogues, and that guy was capable. He was like what, 5'3", 5'4"? Like that guy was amazing for his size. And because he was so small, he can run in between people and set screens beautifully. But no, I tried basketball. I didn't have good shot mechanics. Like I looked kind of like a Goonie bird trying to land when I take a shot. I can almost hit the shot that I'm trying to make every time, but I just look funny when I do it. So it's like it's not for me. I got into boxing, and then I got pretty good at that, but then my knees gave out, arthritis and whatnot. So that got taken from me too. Thanks, aging. Anyway, I wanted to call it blackwashing just because I thought it's kind of screwed that the dude got selected. Yes, there was a controversy. Then he pulls out for what seems like a hokey reason. So I'm curious who they're going to replace him with. Like, I'm really curious who they're going to replace him with. Because it would be funny if they picked, like, I don't know, Ricky Rubio. What are they going to do? Pick on him because he's a Latino? I don't think so. Whatever. Yes, he does. I'm so glad, Play Nice, that you know basketball players. Because my mom loved Sam Cassell when he was playing for the Rockets in the early 90s. She loved him. She was like, he's so ugly, it's cute. I just want to grab his ears and kiss him on the forehead. And I'm like, hey, he might be cool with that. Just don't tell him why you did it. Anyway, yeah, after he played basketball, he became an assistant coach, I think, for the Sacramento Kings for a long time, but he never got a full-time, head coaching nod. Same thing with Mario Ellie. He's been an assistant coach for the longest time, never got the thing. Patrick Ewing, same story. He was assistant coach in Miami for years. That dude got big. He got big. Like thick, heavy, big. Anyway.
What the hell's the thing, Jimmy? You trying to get what I'm talking about for Monday out of me? No, you ain't getting it.
Ain't gonna
You'll
happen.
find out Monday.
Yeah. So there's that.
I want the surprised reaction for sure.
My last bit of news is positive because I don't want to weigh you down. It's the weekend. It's your Saturday. I'm trying to get you in and out of here before noon. So, because it's Saturday, and because I want to end it on a light-hearted note, a racing legend got to celebrate his birthday yesterday. And it's somebody that everybody here should know. And if you don't, did you fall off a turnip truck? Anyway, Ricky Bobby turned 50 years old yesterday. There he is. I know he's not real, but it was a funny story. Because in the story, it shares his driver's license photo, which proves his age. Right there. Born July 16th, 1971. So he would be 50 years old today. Happy birthday, Ricky Bobby.
Christ, I thought he was about 40 when he did the thing.
Well, we're not talking about Matt Farrell. We're just talking about the character. And the only reason that it came up was because he mentioned his age when he got pulled over, I think as a pizza delivery driver or something like that. So like, yeah, he's 50 years old yesterday. That's how I wanted to end the news because I just wanted to give you a chuckle. Like it wasn't supposed to be heavy and serious and starchy and all that stuff. I don't want to
Okay.
I didn't want to ruin
Happy
everyone's weekend with just heavy crap all the time, you know?
Happy birthday, Ricky.
Yep. So,
I actually liked the show or the movie.
yeah. I got 24 minutes before I find out if I want a Siamese Mauser. Oh, Will Ferrell. God damn it. Did I say that right? I probably said it wrong. I might have screwed that
I
up.
don't know, but I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I might have screwed that up. I have a tendency of doing that. I'm blaming lead poisoning and old age. Lead
Got to admit,
poisoning
man,
started it.
his dad was freaking awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's really all I've got. I mean, news-wise. Let's see. We had a few laughs. We covered what guns we bought. Some of us touched on what guns we're getting. Oh,
That's because I didn't buy any.
so because I bought the hold-up displays, Jaime, the Mandalorian right there, he is going slightly a different route. Same company, different things. So like, if you guys saw my video on the hold-up displays rack, they make other ones. They make the metal racks with the wires. They got the ones for pistols. They make the slat walls. They currently have a sale right now on the slat walls. They have a combo set up right now. I think it'll hold 6 rifles and 6 pistols. And I think it's like $300 or $400. And I'm pretty sure that that's what Jaime said he was going to get. He's going to get like the black camo slat wall and then hang all this stuff on the wall. And I wanted to talk about the Punisher wall setups, right? So, obviously, if you do these in a room that children pass through, you want to put them up high enough to where they can't reach them. Obviously, you want them to be unloaded. But what do you do if you set your rack up? The way I talked to Jaime about it, I was like, if you're going to build a slat wall, start it chest high. So I thought, start the slat wall 4 feet off the ground from the baseboard. So that'll get most little kids that where they can't reach it. The other thing is we're going to talk about interior decorating slightly. Because if you look at the way Yankee set up his gun room, he put a lot of thought into the way that looks. And I think it came out great. I think it came out really good. I look at my wall with my racks, and the style of rack that I used is kind of simple. So like I'm pretty happy with the way mine turned out because I hung them like pictures basically, right? But if you do the slat wall, and you set it up 4 feet off the ground, you're going to have this big wall of wood, and in his case, it'll be black camo, and then you're going to put these urethane-coated steel hooks into them. But what about all the wall below your slat wall? So this is just like life hacks, friendly advice, pro tips, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to be helpful. If it were me and I was going to do the slat wall, what I would probably do is I would get a piece of stainless steel trim as a molding to divide the slats with the wall below it. And then below the trim, I would either use sheets of brushed stainless steel to, fill in the bottom half, or maybe aluminum diamond plate even. Or you can buy those big slate tiles and put those on the bottom half. Just something to offset. Because the problem is you're going to put this wall that's going to stick out quite a bit, like maybe up to 6 inches past the side of the wall, above it, and the bottom's going to look like, a dude that's not wearing pants. You know what I mean? It's all busy up top and there's nothing going on at the bottom. So we were bouncing ideas like that. If you do slat walls, put a divider molding, figure out something you can do on the bottom half. If you're going to take the time to make the top half look epic, put a little effort in the bottom half to make it look complete, I guess is a good way to put it.
I didn't want to do the stainless steel, like you say, the brushed stainless steel.
Yeah.
At the bottom. I think that'll offset. I
Yeah.
was looking at Home Depot.
Yeah.
There's a I want to say like a gunmetal black.
Yeah.
That looks like stainless, but when you get close, it looks black.
Yeah.
And I think that'll offset pretty nicely.
Yeah, and the good thing is I think they sell it in 1/16 of an inch thickness or 2 millimeter thickness,
Yeah.
because that stuff gets real heavy real quick. But yeah, if you use that and you get it on the roll, you may have to do 2 layers. Like if it's a roll that's only 3 feet wide, you might have to put a 3 foot and then a 1 foot at the bottom or something. Or if you can find one that's 4 feet wide, then you just roll out a sheet 4 feet. That's perfect.
Lowe's has it.
Yeah. I got a friend who did that. He got the, I think they called it anthracite steel. So it's gunmetal gray. It looks like brushed steel. And he rolled it out. And then what he did is he drilled a relief hole every 12 inches. And he put in like these chrome bezeled, chrome headed screws. Or, sorry, what do you call them? Cap screws that have a Allen bolt head to hold it into the stud. So like, it looks like chrome rivets down a gunmetal sheet, down the straight down the studs, because you got to affix it to the wall. One of my other friends did something similar. He used copper, so it was even thinner. He laid the sheet out and he gorilla glued it to the wall. That works too, but just know that it's going to be real hard to get that off. You're going to destroy the drywall taking that off. But if you screw it in, it'll just fall off once you take the screws off. That's not such a bad thing. But yeah, I'm getting excited about this whole idea of building these walls because originally I was trying not to do it. I was going to wait till I got to my new place, and then I was going to build a recessed cabinet that took up the entire wall. Basically, I was going to cut a hole in the drywall and then cut a recess 4 or 5 inches in, and then drywall back behind that, and then put a sheet of aluminum diamond plate behind that, so it was like inlaid in. And then I was going to build a Punisher wall with like black lights hanging on the inner lip recess, and then a giant like sliding cage door. But that's pretty expensive, and it probably wouldn't look right. It would have to be a gun specific room, whereas my milsurps are in my bedroom, and I get to look at them all the time. And I
guess my room is gonna be a Mandalorian room, I guess.
Yeah. I get to live in fear every day because if I didn't hit the stud correctly, which I verified I did, but if I didn't, there's 60 pounds of guns on each rack, and I thought, yeah, one day I'll be sleeping, and the rack above my head's gonna come off the wall, and 60 pounds of gun are crash into my face. That's gonna hurt. And then I thought about the other rack, which is even wider, and that's got 60 pounds of guns on it. And I was like, that could fall and 60 pounds of guns are going to crash down on my little Yorkies that sleep against the wall on the side of my bed, because that's where they sleep. And I thought, yeah, that's going to hurt. So like every couple of days, I look at the slats and make sure that they're still tied up against the drywall. They are. They look good. I think I did it right. I measured it correctly 5 times before drilling the holes. But for some reason, they still look crooked on the wall. And I think it's because this whole house is crooked. Whoever built my house needs to be shot. They set the studs in this one wall 42 inches apart in one spot. I'm like, who the hell does that? But they did. So anyway, that's that. 15 minutes and 35 seconds. Well, I guess I better put my bid in then, huh? There we go. All right, let's see if I win. We got 15 minutes. Oh, I hate this part. I so hate this part.
We'll find it entertaining as heck.
Well, it's been a 2-horse race with me and this guy for 4 days now. And he probably just got the email. HVS, good morning. From beautiful sunny Hawaii. Sipping on your Kona coffee with some like Jameson casks mates poured in it. I'm going to share with you guys, I know many of you have heard this, but I make a cup of coffee called, I collect Punisher war journals. I've got them since the 70s, like Punisher and the war journals. I make a cup of coffee I call the Breakfast of Champions cup. And if you've never had it, or if you've ever been curious, if you heard me talk about it, I encourage you to try it. It won't cost you a lot to do it. I use Black Rifle Coffee Company's Blackbeard's Delight. I grind it fresh, and I brew it, pour it in my glass. The glass has 3 fingers. So if you're not familiar with bartending or just pouring drinks in general, a single is 1 finger, a double is 2 fingers. So basically you just put the glass on the table and you hold up 2 fingers up against the side of the glass, you pour to that height. My Breakfast of Champions cup is a cup that holds about 8 ounces. I put in, well, no, probably about 12 ounces. It's pretty good size. And I put 3 fingers of Jameson's Caskmates whiskey in the glass. Then I pour the coffee on top of that. And then I use Bluebell Ice Cream's French vanilla. I grab 1 heaping spoonful of that and drop it in the coffee cup and then stir it. So I use it as sugar and creamer basically. And I'll tell you what, 1 of those will get your day started right. 2 of those gets your day starting awesome. And 3 of those makes the drive to work interesting. But usually I stop myself at 1 or 2 in the morning. And I don't do it all the time. Like it's a treat for me every once in a while. I'll make that cup. I call it the Breakfast of Champions cup, and I highly recommend it because it's the coffee by itself is pretty good. The coffee with the whiskey is pretty awesome. And the coffee with the whiskey with a touch of French vanilla ice cream as flavoring is nuclear. It's just awesome. Love it. Still winning. 12 minutes. Okay, let's just hope this guy is stuck with a nagging wife at Costco picking up, I don't know, industrial absorbent tampons. Whatever. Like maybe his wife is 1 pound short of livestock and he's hating life and he doesn't even have his phone. Because every time he reaches for his phone while they're shopping, she looks at him and goes, "Who's this bitch?" And you're like, "What? Huh? No, I love you, baby. No, I'm just checking my auctions." Uh-huh. I got a girl like that. I got a girl like that.
Or maybe he's sitting here watching the show just waiting.
Well, my relationship can be described in 2 songs. I forgot what this one's called. Hang on a second. I'll find it. Oh, yeah. So my relationship right now, and if you're my age, I'm in my 40s now, you'll recognize both of these. But my relationship is described by Green Day's Pulling Teeth and Tripping Daisies, I Got a Girl. That's what my relationship's like. A little bit of both of those. It's crazy. But I'm happy because it was a 30-year conquest and I finally got her. So I'll take the abuse. It's
You
not
know,
really
they
abuse.
say be careful what you wish for.
I chased a mermaid and I got her. And she sort of turned into a homebody as she got older. And that suits me fine. Like, she doesn't care to go out all the time. No, not Don't Stop Believing. No, no, no. Green Day, uh, Green Day's Pulling Teeth and Tripping Daisies, I Got a Girl. You've probably heard Pulling Teeth, but you probably never heard of Tripping Daisy. You have to be a real fan of late 90s rock and alternative for that one. But it's a good song. It is a good song. And the ending's kind of funny too, because like I tell other dudes that all the time, what they say at the end of the song, so that's my thing. Just hoping this guy didn't check his mail. That's all I gotta do. Still in the lead, 10 minutes to go. This rifle's gonna end up costing me $455 as it sits. And $485 because I gotta pay the guy $30 for transfer. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. All right, so we are slowly getting to the part of the day where we get to wind down the show. Before the show ends, you will know if I won, though. Anybody want to talk about what you're doing for this weekend?
Nothing.
At all?
I think I'm going to go in here after this gets over and try to tag you a lady.
Pretty good plan. Pretty good plan. Mine's working for the next 8 days. Doubles. I feel sorry for her, in a way. I don't know. She's so worried, like, guys like me are going to cheat on her because she's always at work or whatever. But it's like, you're at work and you've become a homebody. I'm a homebody. I'll be here when you get here. It's like, it's perfect, right? I don't mind. Like, I get to hang out with you guys all day, so it's not like I'm bored.
Well, you know, and there's always the fact that, you know, you really don't need her awake.
HVS says, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. You might be right, because my fiance, well, shit, it's been, 17 years? Yeah. She was hot. I can't deny it. She was way out of my league, but she picked me, so hey, that's cool, right? Until she turned into a cheating whore. No, the one I got now, phew, like I said, it was literally 30 years. A 30-year conquest. Like, there's a scene in Forrest Gump where he has a flashback and he looks back on a memory of him playing with Jenny in like a field or something like that, right? That kind of reminiscence. I met my girl at the neighborhood swimming pool in the summer, and I went to that pool every day they were open, every summer, hoping just to see her there. And every once in a while she'd be there, and I'd be really happy. And as soon as she left, I'd go home. But I'd sit there for hours and days, like, is she gonna be here? Is she gonna be here? Is she gonna be here? And then I found out she's a friend of my neighbor, who ended up being my neighbor was my second girlfriend ever. But she was friends with her, and that made things a little easier. And yeah, that's my memories. Like, I met her when I was 12 years old. Yeah, 12 years old. I used to chase her around the pool all the time. She wore these one-piece Speedo swimsuits because she was on a swim team, and she had this poofy, frizzy hair that was sun-dyed. She was perfect back then. I was a pale, half Korean kid, and, you know, a year in, I was a Puerto Rican-looking Korean kid because I was dark tanned. I was there every day. I was master of shark. I could sit there at the drain at the bottom of the pool for 3.5 minutes without coming up for air. You know, like, I got so good at it. I had really good cardio, I guess, which sort of makes sense because I rode my bike a lot back then too. And one time I rode my bike like 40 miles in a couple of hours. But it was probably because I had so much cardio from the pool. Anyway, yeah, that's my girlfriend's story. Like I keep joking with her. I'm like, this is one of them stories we're gonna tell our grandkids about. And she was like, I don't want no more kids. She has one. And I'm like, well, accidents happen. She's like, accidents happen because you keep hiding my birth control pills. I might be
Well,
guilty of that.
I'll give you an advice about keeping women faithful, and that's don't give them free time enough to be unfaithful.
Well, mine don't have time. But the other thing is she's been in enough crappy relationships to know what she wants and what she doesn't want, and she knows what she won't tolerate. And she never, ever has been guilty of the things she doesn't tolerate. I'll give her that. She has a unbelievable amount of patience with bad relationships that she used to be in. I just couldn't figure it out. She was with some total, like, just shitlords. And I was like, I told her one day, like one of the first day I really got her attention, I said, "You are the hardest combination lock I've ever had to crack." And she goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, 30 years, think about that. I haven't been able to figure out the right combination of words to get your attention. And I was like, whoever figures it out has got to be the luckiest man on earth because of how much you're willing to put up with their mistakes and stay with them. I was like, that is a privilege that only a few have ever gotten from you. And I can't even get in my foot in the door. And her response was, well, you're in it now. And I thought, oh, that was easy. Why did it take me that long to figure it out? I don't know. I tell people all the time because my course of study was relationship therapy and the psychology of women. I keep saying that, and I keep hinting it like I want to go back and maybe do it again for a living, but I don't know if I want to or not. It's a lot of work. But I keep telling people, I'm like, the one thing that's missing these days is honesty. There's too many convenient booty calls and crappy relationships that just start off on impulse that I knew a couple that wouldn't get together because neither one of them had the guts to tell each other they were interested. And it was kind of hard to watch because they were both agonizing over it. So then I sort of intervened. And I sort of like put them both on the spot and had an intervention and told them both. Neither one of them will talk to me anymore, but they've been happily married for years now. Go figure. You're welcome. I don't know how I got out of that. Anyway.
I don't know. It's probably my fault, but I can't remember what the hell I might have said.
Perfectly fine. 3 minutes to go. I'm still winning. This guy's stuck with his heifer of a wife at Costco. He's probably looking at the Maker's Mark whiskey or whatever they call it, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to need a couple of bottles of this when I get home and find out I lost this auction. And she's looking at him going, don't even think about it. And he just looks down at his feet, reaches for his phone. Who's that bitch? Damn, woman! You done finding your industrial-sized tampons that look like mops? See, look what you've done to me, Tony.
You lead a active fantasy life.
Yeah, well, elements of the early watch have been creeping into my show because I've been saying off-the-cuff kind of shit now. Whatever.
Don't fucking blame me for that shit.
Nah, I guess I should thank you for it. What you see is what you get, right?
It should be obvious that I am a bad influence once I taught Night Strike the F word.
I'm fine. All right, Scott. So aside from having to work today, anything going on for you? He needs internet. Look who got here just as we're almost done for the day.
I just want to say one thing.
Shall not pee in French.
Blame Jimmy for it. It's totally Jimmy's fault.
Oh, well, that's fine. I mean, hell, it took Tony and I, 3 years to find him?
Yeah, right.
No shit, that was a stealth spaceship.
I told you he was on the event horizon. He was, on the dark side of Uranus.
No, he was on the event horizon. He was
Yeah.
in hell.
Yeah, he went to hell and back, and he still appeared on the wrong side of Uranus.
You know.
I keep banging that drum.
Yeah, I keep mentioning the three-handed aliens probing him.
1 minute to go. Yes, this is mine.
We gotta get a countdown.
What's that?
Watch, he gets sniped at 30 seconds.
No. I let my imagination run wild. This guy's stuck in Costco with one of those industrial-sized shopping carts, and his wife's picking up what he thought was a 30-pack of mops, but they're actually heavy flow tampons, because apparently she's Al Bundy's mother-in-law in size. Less than 1 minute. Never thought I'd be excited of going into debt. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine.
Hell, a lot of people are
It's fine.
buying a new car, or new house, and shit like that excites a lot of people.
Yeah, it'll be fine. My spending discipline was actually really good this month. I usually allot myself $500 a month to fart around with gun auctions, so I think we're good.
I was
I'm done buying things.
tossing back and forth the idea of getting a loan to buy an anaconda.
Yeah.
It seems that I'm going to have to get a loan to buy a new lawnmower.
Well, I guess it's only fitting that. Bam! Ha ha! Yep. Give me my chicken dinner. I have bought it's actually a Type 46. Siamese Mauser. Bam! Check out these sights. Look at that. That's Moonspeak, man. This thing is in sweet shape. One of these days,
Sean, it's Moonspeak. We need you to translate.
I don't speak Thai. One of these days, I'm gonna have to teach Scott how to
It's
properly
Siamese.
how to properly buy a milsurp, because this is what you're supposed to. This is how you buy milsurps. Look at that thing. It's gorgeous. Look at it.
So I shouldn't tell you that my local shop still had that 1917 that had been rechambered for 300 H&H Magnum.
How much was it?
$250.
You didn't tell me it was $250. Damn it! Now I gotta buy that. You're gonna have to give me a link to that later.
This is why Scott's an asshole.
No. If it's still there and it's still $250, I'll buy it.
He doesn't do out-of-state sales.
Okay, you buy it and then send it to me.
We'll have to discuss that off air.
Okay.
I can see a freaking YouTube video coming out of this.
Well, yeah, you buy it, hang on to it for 30 days, and then send it to me so it doesn't look like a straw purchase. Because, damn it. Never mind. That is a straw purchase. We can't do that. Talk to you off air. Anyway.
Let Scott shoot it a few times first.
Yeah. You get it. You go shoot it a few times. Get it good and dirty. Then you can say, it's not for me. I'll sell it to you. Like, okay, it's fine. I mean, I still got to do the transfer, right? So it's not really a straw purchase.
What did you say that was chambered in or rechambered in?
300 Win Mag. Was it Win Mag or H&H Mag?
H&H.
Wait a minute.
Shooting it a few times may not be the best way to spend the Saturday afternoon.
Hang on. Do I really want that? Yes. Yes, I think I do. I really wanted the 375, but 300 H&H, I think I got the die set already, too.
Holland didn't screw around with their making of magnums.
No, they're famous for it. As a matter of fact, my Model 70 Winchester in 264 Win Mag is based off of the 375 H&H cartridge neck down. It is the grandfather to 6.5, and I've been told repeatedly that it'll run circles around 6.5 Creedmoor. So I thought, I'm gonna have to like hook up with that dude from 9-Hole Reviews and just like put my rifle against his with the 6.5 Creedmoor, and we'll just see what happens. Like, I'm not God's greatest gift to accuracy, but let's just see what happens. It'll make a fun video, I think.
Yeah, you should be able to work up loads and make it really good if the barrel's still in good shape.
It's brand new. The barrel for my rifle is brand new. It was a custom Criterion barrel. So like, I have no worries about the mechanics of that gun. I built that gun. Like, I started with a barrel in a box, a receiver, and like I think half of a bolt. And I made the stock and bought all the small parts. The hardest part for me to find was the I think it was the mag disc. No, safety. It was a safety. Yeah, the detent on the safety, the little plunger, that was hard to find, and the pre-64 magazine box that goes into the stock. And there was a guy named Tommy Dial on eBay, and he sells tons of small parts. I think what he does is he buys estates, and then he parts out, relics that are probably not in shootable condition, and he sells the parts. Or he just bought out, lots of old parts, and he was selling them. But I sent him a PM, and I was like, you wouldn't happen to have this magazine, would you? And he goes, as a matter of fact, I do. He's like, I'll give you the link. I'll make it private. So I bought that. And he was asking me if there's anything else I might need for that gun. And I'm like, I could really use the spring and the plunger for the safety. He's like, I'll throw it in the box for you. And he did. Because I made my own. I made a spring. I used a Zippo flint spring for the safety. And then I made a plunger out of a pewter, it was a pewter or not a medallion, it was a pewter, what the fuck do you call those things? You put them on a pendant on a necklace. It was a PSG-1 H&K rifle pendant. It was made out of pewter, and I cut the barrel off of it and shaped it to be the plunger, and it worked. Like, it worked fine. But I wanted the original parts back in it, so like I only kept it in there until the parts arrived. But yeah, I once upon a time had a H&K PSG-1 pendant. It wasn't worth anything, so I used it for parts, literally, for a real gun. All right, so anyway, let's see. We have run for 2 hours. I think it's time for me to start playing this. And I'd like to thank all of you, my panelists, and all of you who are watching for joining us today on Pwnery's Week in Review. I originally called this a lobby-style chat, but it is pretty factual, and it is pretty topical. So maybe it's not a lobby, but if you'd like to join us for what feels like a lobby, you can come onto this server in Lobby for Working Stiffs, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 10 and 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you need a link, copy and paste the email address in the description below. And if you're a Gun Channels member, send me your Gun Channels name if it's different than what you use today. That way I can recognize you, and I'll send you an invite. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you on the next one.